What? I said, are you ready? Yeah! Get stealing, woo, wheeling, dealing. The cream of the crop. Nobody does it better. I got 141 and 2/3 chance of winning. But brother, I am bad and they know I'm bad.
I'm the man of the hour, the man with the power. Too sweet to be sour.
This is going to be a slobber knocker. Welcome to The Grill Out. From the heart of Shillian, West Virginia, here's your host, Hollywood Jeff Petty.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to The Grill Out, episode 21. I am your host, Hollywood Jeff Petty, and I'm joined by one of my illustrious co-hosts. It's not Josh Cole. It's Jason. We do actually like him, Lykens.
That's right. It is not Josh Cole.
Bebe.
Not Bebe. Not Bebe.
I have rechristened him.
Okay.
Yeah, he is back to Bebe.
Why?
Because I am the champion.
Because you are the champion.
Yes. I made some changes. I changed the name of the title.
Okay.
It is not the Grill Out Predictions Championship anymore.
Yeah.
It is the World Heavyweight Predictions Champion now.
Okay.
And he is rechristened as Bebe.
As Bebe.
Yes.
Okay. Well, here's what hasn't changed, okay? Jeff, my buddy since college. Here's what hasn't changed. Sting still hates Josh Cole.
I believe that.
Oh, there's nothing to believe or not believe. He told me. He texted me before I came here. He said, "Hey, Jay, is Josh going to be on the podcast today?" I said, "Listen up, Stinger." No. Josh Cole, not Bebe, is not going to be on the podcast today. He said, "Good. You know why?" I said, "Why, Stinger?" He said, "I'll tell you why, Jay. I don't like him."
He calls you Jay?
He calls me Jay.
Why?
Because he can. Because it's the Stinger.
That's true. That's very true.
I don't call him Sting. I call him Stinger. He calls me Jay. You know what he calls you?
What?
Useless.
How am I useless? I'm the one. I
You'd have
write.
to ask him.
You know what?
Mm-hmm.
If you got his personal cell phone and everything,
Yeah.
have him come in for an interview.
You know what? I'll call him right now.
Yes, please.
I'll call him right now, okay?
Please go ahead.
Stinger, it's Jay.
Still don't know why he calls him Jay.
Yeah. No, I'm here with Useless. Yeah, Jeff Petty. Yeah. Yeah, he wanted to know why you call him Useless. Okay. Yeah, I'll tell him that. Okay. Thanks, man. See you, Stinger. Love you, too. He said because you are.
I don't understand that, even though I'm the one that produces the show and writes the show. And yes. Okay, we'll get right into it. And you gave me a good segue there.
You're welcome.
For the first story that we have in this segment.
I thought you were going to say for the first time.
Well, yeah, I guess for the first time. We have some more details on Sting's final match. This is coming from Inside the Ropes Wrestling. Quote, Tony Schiavone made his way to the ring after the match. That's this past Wednesday on Dynamite, and stated that March 3rd was fast approaching. Schiavone then asked the Icon who the final opponent would be. Before the Icon could answer, he was interrupted by the return of the Young Bucks, who made the return for the first time since Full Gear, and seemingly setting up the clash at the next pay-per-view. With the match of the former world champion and Allen versus the Young Bucks all but confirmed. The response has not been as empathetic as some would have hoped. Some fans online have been more critical than others, with comments stating that it is an anticlimactic way of ending the Hall of Famer's career.
Okay.
End quote.
A few things. One, what I was terrified of, because during that segment, Flair kept getting closer and closer to Sting. Kept looking at him harder and longingly. He was looking at him, and I was afraid. Thankfully, they didn't go that route of Sting versus Flair.
Oh, that would have been a train wreck.
Yes, and I know a lot of people were really hoping that the final match for Sting would be one-on-one with Darby.
Yes, and in fact, I'm gonna let you finish. But
no, go for it. Man. Go for it.
No, you go ahead and finish what you're doing. But I was going to add that is what Josh also thought, and he was kind of leaning in that direction.
I'm glad they didn't go that route.
Yes.
For me, I love Sting. Okay, always a huge fan of Sting ever since I was a kid. The few times that I've seen him live, always been a fan of him.
They don't call him the icon for no reason.
I know Sting does not want to do one-on-one matches, and I don't blame him. I mean, he's not exactly young. He's not Ric Flair old, but I mean, the guy's in his 60s.
He's 64.
64. If he doesn't feel that he is able to put on a good Sting quality one-on-one match, then he shouldn't be doing it.
Yes.
If he is not comfortable doing it, if he does not want to tarnish or to disappoint, then put him in a tag match, let him do that, and let it go the way it does.
Yes, and to add on to what you're saying, because Josh couldn't join us today, but I did ask for his comments on certain things involving the script. He said, quote, I originally thought it would end up being a singles match versus Darby Allin, as what you said. As story-wise, that would have made sense. But a tag match seems the safest, and apparently Sting had said he did not want to do any singles matches. You also said that. As for seemingly being the Young Bucks, it is odd, but they'll make Sting look good, and I don't know who else they have gotten who isn't already retired and could still go. But also, if it wasn't for the Young Bucks, in parentheses, and Cody and Kenny, we basically wouldn't have AEW, and if it wasn't for AEW, Sting probably would not have gotten this final run, so it works in that regard too. And then in parentheses, he goes, essentially the ones who gave him this opportunity for his final run get to send him off. And to add on to what both of you are saying, this is, from what I'm hearing, Sting wanted the Bucks as his final opponents. I think it was a Revolution. Him and Darby had a tag match with the Bucks. I think that's how it went. And he liked the way the match went. So he was like, I want them to send me off. Which, it's his final match. He got screwed pretty much in WWE.
Oh, yeah.
Like, most of it wasn't his fault, but then, the whole buckle bomb and everything. And he didn't get the right send-off.
Yeah.
If any wrestler needs to have the correct send-off, and I think he's not going to come back like other wrestlers who have been mentioned in this segment, Flair.
Yeah.
I think it should be Sting.
I agree.
Yes. But we don't know. None of that is confirmed, but that is some of the details on Sting's final match. And just to stick with AEW, Tony Khan has another Twitter meltdown. This is coming from Cultaholic.com. Quote, Tony Khan carried out his latest tirade on X, formerly known as Twitter, this week as the All Elite Wrestling CEO took shots at WWE booking Jinder Mahal, a wrestler who has won 2 matches since the start of 2022 in a World Heavyweight title match against Seth Rollins. Khan accused people of double standards, too, for allegedly criticizing his decision to position Hook for an AEW World title match against Samoa Joe. The tweets received a wide range of reactions from across the wrestling world, but Khan's latest tirade doesn't appear to have been well received within All Elite Wrestling. Well, apparently some of them are embarrassed by his behavior on Twitter.
I mean, there's a few things here for me. One, I believe if you go back into the history of the time between Seth Rollins and Jinder Mahal, they were both in the finals of a tournament in NXT.
Which I believe was a cage match?
Possibly.
And the only reason why I'm saying that is because, like, during this Twitter tirade, USA Network tweeted at Tony Khan asking about what was the match rating for the cage match that they had, which was like a 6.27.
Okay.
Yeah, something like that. It wasn't the greatest thing in the world. It wasn't the worst, but
well, I really think Tony Khan just needs to focus on AEW.
Yes.
That's what he needs to do, is just focus on booking his own stuff. Who cares what anyone else is booking? I mean, he's not talking about TNA. He's not talking about NWA. He's not talking about New Japan. He's not talking about All Japan. He's not talking about OVW. He just keeps talking about WWE. What he sounds like is an ex who can't let their former significant other's life go.
Yes.
He's Facebook stalking his ex.
Yes.
That's what he's doing.
Yeah,
and they were never in a relationship.
No, and there has been. I understand this argument that some people are putting forward. Luke Owen, I think it was Luke on Wrestle Talk was talking about it, and he was mentioning about like back in the '90s. You know, everybody was taking all these pot shots at each other between WCW and ECW and WWF. But the thing is, like WCW and WWF were very close in competition.
Yeah.
But it's going to take years to get caught up to where WWE is now.
Yeah.
And out of all of this, the two people who are going to benefit the most is going to be Hook and Jinder.
Yeah.
Because now these matches that in a way were throwaway matches are now going to get a lot more attention come next week between the two brands. I understand where Tony is coming from. It is sort of a pet peeve that a lot of people have with WWE, where they just kind of throw people into a world title shot and all that. That's something that everybody's complained about. But taking it to Twitter, taking it to any social media to vent your frustrations is a little much.
But here's another thing, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's all make-believe.
True.
It's make-believe. Like, it's just stories.
True.
I mean, why get mad at somebody's story?
That's very true. There was actually it was somebody, I think it was from Dirt Sheet Radio. They quote tweeted it, and they were talking about how they were in the message forums in the mid 2000s, and they're like, this is exactly how I would expect somebody who was in those same message forums to act if they had their own wrestling company.
Yeah.
Like, it's Tony Khan is that internet wrestling fan who screams and complains about every little thing.
Yeah,
and I'm glad that AEW is a thing. I'll say that. Yeah. I'm glad it's a thing, but it's Tony Khan needs to be ringed in a little bit.
Let me ask you this: who was the last company to try to compete on the wrestling entertainment level with WWE?
Wrestling entertainment level?
Yes. As in sports entertainment. Who was the last one to do that? To try to compete with them?
That was TNA.
What happened to them?
They went back to Thursday nights after being on Monday nights for, what, a month?
So then they became Impact.
Yep.
And then all of this arc of them. What happened whenever they quit trying to compete with them and they just started doing their own stuff and being their own thing?
They became, and I've said this to you and Josh for what I think the past year now, that they are a promotion that has been slept on.
They're still around.
Yes.
I mean, I was in junior high whenever they started their weekly pay-per-views.
Wow, you were... Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was in grade school.
Yeah, I was in 8th grade, 9th grade, one of the two.
That was what, 2002 when they were doing that?
2000, 2001. That's
okay.
when I was in 8th and 9th grade.
Oh man, it was after WCW closed. Because Double J, JEFF, yeah. Jeff Jarrett, he was still with WCW, and then they get bought out, and Vince does the you're gone on live TV, and then TNA pops up. So it was after WCW got bought. So late 2001, early 2002, somewhere in there.
Well, I know it would have had to have been. You see, I'd look it up, but my computer screen is frozen.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
No, it's all good. But I remember being in my physical education class with one of my buddies at the time, and we were talking about this new weekly pay-per-view show.
Mm-hmm.
But once they stopped trying to be WWE and they were just focusing on their own thing, I mean, they've managed to stick around. AEW needs to not care what Vince is doing or what WWE is doing anymore. For so long, those two were synonymous.
Yeah.
And they just need to focus on AEW. Just focus on your own product. If you want to be sports professional wrestling, focus on that. It doesn't matter what someone else books.
Yeah.
Try to book something better.
Yeah, and I think that in a way they could book it better. I mean, there is a little bit of it does make a little more sense with Hook going against Samoa Joe with, how he's been booked here recently with, his wins and such versus Jinder Mahal. But yes, just like what you're saying, you're talking too much about the competition. You're giving them too much credit right now.
Yeah.
And yeah, they need to just quit that. And I think we've been saying this on this show that they need to quit that. The past 2 weeks of Dynamite has actually been some of the best television they've put out in a little bit, in maybe half a year, almost a year. I mean, it can be done. But it just Tony Khan needs to get away from his cell phone.
Yeah, why are you going to give your competitor free advertisement?
Exactly.
Which is what he's doing.
Yes.
It doesn't make any sense.
No. It
just shut up, Tony.
Yeah, and there's been people that, like I said, they've been arguing. It's like, this is how it would have been in the '90s if they were going back and forth, and they probably would have been. It probably would have been that way, but it still would have been just as annoying.
But guess what? It's not the '90s.
No, that's almost 30 years ago.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus. let it go. The '90s are gone.
They are. It's 2024 now. Like, let's just move forward, because I think, and I said this last week when we were making predictions for 2024, I think TNA is going to be a very close second promotion in the country, in North America altogether, because they've been putting on a consistent good product for well over a year now.
Well, speaking of TNA, they unveiled new belts.
Yes.
And did you see who debuted there?
Nick Nemeth.
Nick Nemeth.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
which means he will overpromise and underdeliver.
Yes.
No, he was always a great talent. He just I don't know what it is, but Dolph Ziggler it never clicked.
No.
It was there, but it never made it past the finish line.
He all due respect to him, he always come off to me as sort of a HBK ripoff.
Yeah.
The way he works now, I can see with the Young Bucks their influence with Michaels and the Rockers and everything, but they still make it their own thing.
Yeah.
Ziggler, he reminds me too much of HBK. Like, not enough of Nick Nemeth, Ziggler, whatever you want to call him now. Not enough that, but too much like, this is just HBK's shtick.
Yeah, it's HBK light.
Yeah.
Which is funny because Chris Jericho was an HBK ripoff.
Pretty much.
But he completely changed from that.
Yeah.
It just seemed like Dolph Ziggler never really did.
No, and the difference is between Jericho and Ziggler is Jericho has proven over and over and over that he can change his character around. He can evolve his character. He's kind of like, in a way, he's kind of like how The Undertaker was for years. Once the character started getting stale, okay, time to reset it. Once it started getting stale again, let's reset it. Went from the Mortician to the Ministry of Darkness to the American Badass, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. That's the difference between a good talent and a great talent. Even though Jericho probably does need to step away more. So this, yeah.
Well, I can also see a comparison between the whiny heel Dolph Ziggler of "It Should Have Been Me" and the whiny heel Chris Jericho. It's just that when Jericho did it, like back in WCW, it was really entertaining.
It's also kind of fresh.
Yeah, but it was really entertaining. When Dolph Ziggler's like, "Oh, it should have been me," it just comes off whiny and irritating.
And also, just to add on with what happened last night at TNA Hard to Kill, they announced a partnership between them and AAA. So TNA, they've unveiled new belts. We did have a title change last night. The Knockout champion is now Jordan Grace, which that was kind of to be expected. Trinity's been rumored to go back to WWE anyway.
Yeah, expecting it with the Rumble.
Yeah, it's Rumble season. Yeah. I think she's going to be making a return. They've put out new belts. I mean, I really think I am going to start watching it on a weekly basis just to keep up with it. I think that's what I mean. They are going to be a close second, and they're going to be competing with AEW before you know it.
Yeah.
Especially if now it seems like right now Warner Brothers Discovery is happy with what AEW is doing. And granted, TNA is not on a major network like they are. I don't see them staying with. I think it's Access TV.
Yeah.
I don't see them staying with them. If they get big enough, I don't see them staying there.
Well, I definitely see a reason to pay for the TNA subscription.
Oh yeah,
like I can absolutely find justification, at least with myself. I don't know with my wife, but with myself, of paying for their subscription.
Yeah, $9.99. I mean, that's
someone else used to have a subscription for $9.99, didn't
yeah,
they?
Yeah, they did. They're now on Peacock.
Oh,
yeah, it's $4.99 now.
Oh.
Unless you don't want commercials, then I think it is $9.99. So, and also just to add on to TNA's new title belts, Josh, who is our belt.
Of course he did.
Hey,
Yeah.
I had to ask him what he thought about the new belts.
Why don't you all ever ask me stuff whenever I'm not here?
Because we do ask you stuff.
Do you?
We ask you for your predictions and stuff.
Okay, yeah, predictions, but not like, hey, TNA's got some titles. What do you think? It's like, oh, hey, Josh, I know you're actually here consistently. Let's get your opinion on things.
I just really, I asked for his opinion on Sting's retirement match, and I also wanted his opinion on the titles.
So for 2 for 2 of the things that we've discussed, yes.
Yes. But he did say that, the new titles, they look really good across the board as a whole.
Well, I'm glad we got his opinion on if they look good.
He was disappointed, though, in the world title.
Okay.
Because he wanted it to be he wanted it to resemble the original TNA heavyweight title, where it was they sort of had that winged eagle look.
Cardboard.
Yeah. But no, the winged eagle one that they sort of had. He wanted it to go back to that, but I'm okay with it. They are very, very good looking belts.
No, they're great looking belts.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they are. They're amazing looking. And last story that we're going to close this segment.
Well, can I ask one more thing about TNA?
What's up?
Okay. Did you watch Hard to Kill?
I did not.
Did you see Eric Young?
I did. When he came out and he was talking about TNA,
yes.
I heard about it. I have not had a chance to watch it. I'm sure there's a clip out there.
Well, he looks like a single H. Like he's trying to look like Triple H, but much smaller. He's like single H right now. He's like lowercase Triple H.
Lowercase Triple H.
Like 3 lowercase H's.
Okay.
At the break, take a look.
Okay, I definitely will. But last thing I do want to bring up in this segment, Dark Side of the Ring has been renewed for a 5th season with Vice.
Did you get Josh's opinion on that too?
No, I didn't. No. I did send him the kind of like how I do with you anyway. I send the script.
I never got a script.
I've sent the script.
I did not get this script.
You didn't get this script because I've been having problems.
I know, and I was going to look at this script.
I know,
and I didn't get it.
My bad.
Yeah.
My bad. I've had issues with my cell phone.
Yeah.
Past week.
So you can get stuff to Josh, but you.
Well, I sent it to him through Facebook.
Well, you could have done that with me too.
Oh yeah, I could have sent it to Natalie.
Yeah.
Yeah. My bad.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you are.
You see how he is to me, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. All 2 of you listening.
Oh yeah.
Send in your love letters to Jeff.
Exactly, because I need them.
He can't read.
Barely. But yeah, Dark Side of the Ring is renewed for a 5th season. Vice TV has renewed it. And it looks like the show will come back in March 2024. And there isn't any news about how many episodes they're going to have, but they sort of have had a consistent 10 episodes, on average per season. So I don't know who exactly they can cover now. I just don't.
I mean, what's an episode that you would like to see?
See, I don't know, because all the ones I could think of, they've covered them. I mean, you had Owen Hart. They've done that one. There's Chris Benoit. That was a 2-parter.
Yeah.
The Bruiser Brody murder. I mean, that was that was in the first season. The Von Erichs was in the first season.
They did Brian Pillman.
Yes, they did. They did Brian Pillman. That was a 2-parter. And just to give you the topics that they did this previous season, they did Chris Candido and Tammy Cinch.
Yeah.
Had to do Sonny.
Everyone else has.
yeah, that's true. Magnum TA, Adrian Adonis, Doink the Clown, Junkyard Dog, Marty Jannetty. I have not seen that episode, but I've kind of wanted to see it.
Yeah, I want to see that one.
Bam Bam Bigelow, Abdullah the Butcher, Bash at the Beach 2000, and the Graham family. That was all the ones from the previous season. And just to close out this segment, real quick, what ones would you want to see that haven't already been covered? And there's been a lot of them that's been covered.
I would really like to see one on Vince McMahon.
Yes. There is sort of one out there, but it's not through Dark Side of the Ring.
You see, I want to see theirs. Because I've read a bunch of stuff about Vince McMahon. But
I want to see a whole documentary. Like, not just a 45-minute episode.
I want to see like an entire season.
Yes,
on Vince McMahon.
You could easily do an entire season on Vince McMahon, and maybe they just have to wait till he dies, if he dies, to do it. Because I think Vince is just going to live forever.
I would also like to see now this one wouldn't have to be Dark Side of the Ring, but a very tongue-in-cheek one on Hulk Hogan.
Yes,
just like of all the lies, I would love to see. Like an animated Hulk Hogan documentary.
Yes.
And
I mean, they could take notes from this show because we did do an entire segment, Josh and I did, explaining all of Hulk Hogan's different lies.
Oh, well, I'm glad I was asked for my opinion on that.
I'll ask you for your opinion next time.
Okay.
I'll make sure I do that.
Yeah.
He's going to kill me when we go to commercial break.
I'm just going to sit here and cry.
I'll get you.
It should have been me.
Okay. That's going to do it for the first segment, ladies and gentlemen. Since it is Royal Rumble season.
Ahmed Johnson. That's the Dark Side of the Ring I want to see.
I don't know maybe his knee pads that are pulled all the way up to his thighs.
Well,
such a weird choice aesthetically.
I mean, there was the whole story of like whenever he injured Ron Simmons.
Oh, yeah.
And then Ron Simmons came back and beat the living hell out of him.
That's true. That's very true.
And then whenever he stole a set of shoulder pads from LOD that Ahmed said that Hawk gave him, Animal said he stole them. So, I mean, there's that whole thing. But I can't really talk to a lot of the people involved in that.
Yeah, that's true. You probably you might be able to find somebody. Book it, Tony, you coward. Next segment, we're going to do Conrad Thompson.
I want the Dark Side of the Ring on Conrad Thompson
and his podcasting empire.
That's right. Yeah, so you marry Ric Flair's other daughter. I see how you got your money.
All right, we'll be right back. Up next, we're going to do random Royal Rumble facts. Stay tuned.
It's time for more of the Grill Out. Here's Hollywood Jeff Petty.
Welcome back.
Conrad Thompson has never been in a Royal Rumble.
No, he has not.
There's
your first statistic, first random fact of the Royal Rumble.
Wait, were we not starting on that already?
Yeah, no, we're going to start with Conrad Thompson has never been in a Royal Rumble because he has a podcasting empire.
Mm-hmm.
Conrad Thompson, if you're listening to this, give us some pointers, and we would like to interview you.
Yeah.
It's kind of the running joke on this program. Yeah.
Fact number 2, Drew Carey has been in more Royal Rumbles than Conrad Thompson.
He has. What was that, 2001?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, he was eliminated by Kane.
No, he was eliminated by himself.
Kane came out and he said, "No, I'm deuces, I'm out."
Yes.
He went over.
So, do you have a random fact?
Okay,
third one. Pete Rose has been in more Royal Rumbles than Conrad Thompson.
Some people are listening to this and they're like, "Who is Conrad Thompson?" Like they're not.
That's the appropriate answer.
That is the appropriate answer.
I love you, Conrad.
He does do good work. He
gives really good hugs.
He does. He does. Okay, so random fact, and we actually talked about this briefly off the air. Who has the most wins out of the entries? A lot of people say entry number 27.
Yeah.
That's because all of those, the Royal Rumble by the numbers that WWE puts out every year, that's the one that they like to tout. It's actually number 30 now has more wins because number 27 has 4 wins, and it's also in a 3-way tie now between 1 and 28.
Okay.
So all 3 of those numbers have 4 wins apiece. Number 30 has 5 now. And the reason for that is because it's more of a recent thing within the past 10 years. Cody Rhodes won from the number 30 spot last year. The year before that, Brock Lesnar won from the number 30 spot. And then Triple H won from the number 30 spot in 2016 when he won the WWE Championship. You know, that whole ordeal. And then went to WrestleMania 32, and it was a snooze fest between him and babyface Roman Reigns. So, just to throw the other numbers out there, number 24 has 3 wins by itself. All of these numbers have 2 wins apiece. The number 2 entrant, number 3 entrant, 19, 22, 23, 25, and 29 all have 2 wins. And these other ones all have 1 win apiece. Full disclosure, they are, I think, are they including the Greatest Royal Rumble? I think they sort of are, but not.
You shouldn't.
No, it's not canon. It's not canon. The Crown Jewel within the past couple of years is more canon than it was when it was first happening. Like, it was pretty much when they started. It was a glorified house show. But number 5, 8, 10, 13, 14, 16, 17, 18, 38, and 41 all have 1 win apiece. And Batista is the only person to win from the same spot twice at number 28. There's your Jeopardy fact on that one. Yep. So, you got another fact over there?
Yes, I do. Let's see. Triple H is the all-time leader of time spent in ring with 3 hours and 51 minutes and only 8 appearances.
Really?
Yeah.
He's only been in the Royal Rumble 8 times?
Apparently so.
Huh.
I mean, Mick Foley was in it 3 times in one night.
You know who has never been in the Royal Rumble?
Conrad Thompson.
Conrad Thompson, yes, granted.
Yeah.
Razor Ramon, actually.
Oh, I legitimately thought you were going with Conrad Thompson.
We've already established that.
Yeah.
Conrad Thompson has not been in the Royal Rumble.
I thought we were going back to that joke.
No,
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I was bringing a legitimate fact in there. We do like to tell the jokes here. But yes, no, Razor Ramon has never been in a Royal Rumble. Also, Devon Dudley.
Now, has Scott Hall been in a Royal Rumble?
No, I don't think neither Scott nor Razor have been in the Royal. Because also Scott wasn't in the WWF for long until he got released.
No. But you know who else has never been in a Royal Rumble?
Conrad Thompson.
True. Shawn Michaels.
Oh,
never in a Royal Rumble.
That is a bold-faced lie.
Yes, it is. I just wanted to feel involved.
Yeah, it's okay. Let's see. Shawn Michaels is actually one of the few to win the Royal Rumble back-to-back.
Yes.
Him, Hulk Hogan, Austin. Mm-hmm. Let's see who else is it only those 2? Only those 3 that have done it. Let me see. Hulk Hogan in 90 and 91, Shawn Michaels in 95, 96, Austin in 97, 98. Yeah, I think it's only them. Yeah. Okay.
Now, out of his 5 appearances, Bret Hart lasted 15 minutes.
Wow. That's... I feel like he would have been in there a lot more than that.
Well, someone who you would think would be in there longer, the Great Khali, averages 2 minutes and 44 seconds in 8 career appearances. It takes him longer to walk to the ring than it does for him to be in the Royal Rumble match.
Wait a minute. He's been in the Royal Rumble
8 times.
8 times.
Averages 2 minutes 44 seconds
In each match?
If you put all of the time together, yeah. He has averaged out 2 minutes 44 seconds.
Oh, I thought you meant like total time.
No.
That would have been hilarious.
He's not Santino Marella.
No. I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. Actually, speaking of Santino, Chris Van Vliet the guy who does a lot of interviews with wrestlers. He said he showed this video. He went to the gym the other day.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yep, and it was Santino Marella
doing the power walk.
On the treadmill. He's like, oh, look, you see, I get there and I run into a Santino.
Now, do you know who had the shortest time spent in the Rumble?
It's not Santino, is it?
It was.
It was. Okay, who is
it?
I don't
remember who it is right now, but prior to Santino, I know it was the Warlord.
Oh, okay. All right. How long was the Warlord in there though?
Like 2 seconds.
Well,
yeah.
Ain't gonna beat that one too much. No. Okay. Top 10 cumulative men's eliminations. So this is total eliminations for the men's Royal Rumble. The top 10, starting at number 10, is actually a tie between CM Punk and Cody Rhodes at 18 apiece.
Okay. Number
9 is Chris Jericho at 19. We have another tie at number 8 between Edge and John Cena with 25 apiece. Hulk Hogan at number 7 with 27. Number 6 is Randy Orton with 29. We have a 4-way tie for the 5th spot between Big Show, Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, and Triple H, all at 32. Braun Strowman is at number 4 with 34. Steve Austin is actually at number 3 with 36. We have, this is put on here a little weird. Apparently we have a tie for number 2 between The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels at 39. And then Kane, obviously, Kane has the most eliminations of anybody at 46. 45 as Kane and 1 as Isaac Yankem.
Okay.
I will also go ahead and give you the women's cumulative eliminations. Number 10 is between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A 7-way tie at number 10 between Alexa Bliss, Brie Bella, Dakota Kai, Io Sky, Lacey Evans, Liv Morgan, and Sasha Banks, all at 5 eliminations apiece. Number 9 is a 4-way tie between Asuka, Becky Lynch, Nikki Bella, and Ruby Riott at 6. Number 8 is Sonya Deville at 7. Number 7 is Michelle McCool and Natalya with a tie at 8. From 6 up, there's no ties. Number 6 is Bayley at 10. Number 5 is Nia Jax at 11. Number 4 is Bianca Belair at 13. Number 3 is Shayna Baszler at 14. Number 2 is Charlotte Flair at 15. And number 1 is Mommy Rhea Ripley at 20.
Go. Yeah.
She's got 5 more than Charlotte Flair.
There have been 3 people to have 2 sons enter the Royal Rumble. Do you know who they are?
3 people who've had 2 sons?
Yes. So 3 wrestlers.
3 wrestlers
have had 2 sons enter the Royal Rumble
at the same time.
Well, I mean,
but okay,
not exactly at the same time.
Would one of them be Stu Hart, like with Owen Hart and Bret Hart in the Royal Rumble?
No, I don't think Owen was ever in one.
Really? There's another random fact. There's 4 people we've given who have never been in a Royal Rumble who you kind of think, except for Conrad.
Owen. Okay, but it's like fathers who have been in the Royal Rumble.
Okay. Okay.
Dusty Rhodes.
Okay. With Cody and Dustin.
Yes.
Goldust at the time. Yeah. Okay.
Then Rikishi.
Okay.
Jimmy and Jay.
Jimmy and Jay, yep.
And then Carlos Colon Sr.
With Carlito and
Primo.
Yeah. And technically, if Solo Sikoa is in this year's Royal Rumble, would Rikishi be the only father to have 3 sons?
Yes.
Oh. Keep that one in mind. What is it? It's the 27th is when the Royal Rumble is. And actually I'll just go ahead and give you a preview of next weekend. We will be doing predictions for the Royal Rumble next weekend.
Okay.
So just heads up, because we always try to do them the weekend before because just scheduling reasons. Okay. Every entrance. Okay. Actually, so you said Bret Hart was 15 minutes?
I believe so. Yeah.
Altogether?
I believe so.
I was going to say, I have a stat over here that says in 1988, Bret Hart was the Iron Man for the first Royal Rumble.
Okay.
At 25 minutes and 42 seconds.
Well, maybe his time averaged out to 15 minutes.
Maybe that's what it was.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. My list isn't exactly great.
This one, actually, I did, because there were a couple I was looking at that hadn't been updated in years. This one is actually the most recent updated one that I've found. Actually, so cumulative time in the Royal Rumble, number 1 goes to Chris Jericho. 4 hours, 59 minutes, and 33 seconds. And the man doesn't have a Royal Rumble win.
Yeah.
He does not have a Rumble win, and he's been in the match the most out of anybody. Randy Orton this year has actually a chance to pass Chris Jericho. He is at 4 hours, 34 minutes, and 8 seconds. Triple H is sitting at number 4, actually, and he is almost at 4 hours flat. So he's at 4 hours and 50 seconds.
Okay.
And then number 3 was Rey Mysterio at 4 hours, 14 minutes, and 46 seconds. Just to round out the top 5, Shawn Michaels at 3 hours, 47 minutes, and 32 seconds.
Okay. So Santino is the all-time leader in least time in the Royal Rumble match. And
yes.
Note, this is with 5 or more appearances required.
Okay. How many appearances does Santino have? Does it say on there?
It does not, but it is at least 5. So 5 or more.
Okay.
And this is his cumulative time. Okay?
Okay.
What do you think it is? So his combined time out of all of his appearances.
I'm going to give him like 3 minutes and 6 seconds.
1 minute, 11 seconds.
Yes!
Santino has lasted more than 1 minute only once.
So wait a minute. He's been in at least 5 Rumbles.
Yes.
And in one of those, he lasted the most time out of this is his total time.
Yes.
And it was just over a minute.
Yes.
And then those other ones have just been seconds.
Yes.
Yes. I love it. Oh, I love weird stats like that. Most eliminations in a single match. It is actually a tie between Braun Strowman and Brock Lesnar at 13 apiece.
Okay.
Behind them is Roman Reigns at 12, then Kane at 11. For the women's side, we have a tie between Bianca Belair and Shayna Baszler at 8. So, and fewest eliminations to win, Vince McMahon.
Okay.
At 1.
Steve Austin.
Yes, and Randy Orton actually at 1. I don't know which year that was, but yeah. And we'll toss it right back to you. The past 3 winners in the Men's Rumble. So 2021 was Edge, 2022 was Brock Lesnar, 2023 was Cody Rhodes. All 3 of them went to WrestleMania and lost their title shot.
Okay.
So that's the last Men's Rumble winner to go on and win the belt was Drew McIntyre in 2020.
And he did it in front of nobody.
He did it in front of absolutely nobody, and then that actually wasn't the main event. He defended it against the Big Show. Randomly, but yes.
Well, Shawn Michaels eliminated Shelton Benjamin 3 times.
Oh, he did?
He did. Those years being 2006, 2007, and 2008.
I was going to say that was back-to-back years.
Yeah.
Those two in the mid to late 2000s, they had a tendency to find each other in the ring quite often. And also, they just had really good chemistry in the ring.
They did.
Like the one shot is on Monday Night Raw when Shelton Benjamin does that springboard off the top rope, and then just the sweet chin music. Like it's one of the most perfectly timed sweet chin musics to me of all time. So
there have been 9 entrants related to Afa Anoa'i. That has been The Rock, Roman Reigns, Yokozuna, Umaga, Rosie, Samu, Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, and Rikishi.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. This is one fact that everybody kind of knows. The most wins of any wrestler in a Royal Rumble is Stone Cold Steve Austin with 3.
Yeah.
97, 98, and 2001. 8 wrestlers have 2 wins apiece. You have Hulk Hogan, Shawn Michaels, John Cena, Batista, Triple H, Randy Orton, Edge, and Brock Lesnar. All of them have 2 wins apiece.
Go for it.
And I was going to say, and out of all of them, really Orton and Brock are the only 2 that could tie Austin. Because Edge is, obviously he's over in AEW as Adam Copeland. Triple H, he is officially retired. Batista's in Hollywood, same for John Cena. And Shawn Michaels and Hulk Hogan obviously are retired.
Well, I mean, if you ask Hulk, he's probably won it 8 times.
Yeah.
Or at least was supposed to.
And actually, on top of that, he's the one that came up with the idea for it.
He did.
Brother.
That's right.
Much love, HH.
Yeah. It's they said, "Hey Hulk, we need you to win this." And he said, "That's not going to work for me, brother. It's just not going to work, brother."
Brother.
Yeah.
2007 and 2008, as well as 2022 and 2023, were the only times the same number won in succession. Do you know which number that is?
I do not.
Both times it was the number 30 entrant.
Okay.
Yep. That's why number 30 has surpassed number 27 now. Then, when adjusted for inflation, Hacksaw Jim Duggan's number 13 win out of 20 wrestlers instead of 30 becomes an equivalent of number 19 and a half, rounded up to 20 by today's standards. So,
there have been a total of 10 spots that have never won the Royal Rumble.
Okay.
So it is entry 4, 6, 9, 11, 12, 15, 17, 20, 21, and 26 have never won the Royal Rumble.
Huh. We just giving you more and more facts. Shortest men's Royal Rumble time, of course, is Santino Marella, 1.9 seconds.
Yeah.
2009. Shortest women's Royal Rumble time.
Santina Marella. No. Oh.
That would be hilarious, though.
It would
if it was Santino.
Come on, 2024, do it. Do it, you cowards.
Come on, Trips, book it, you coward.
Is it Conrad Thompson?
No, it's not Conrad.
Yeah, because he's never been in a Royal Rumble.
That's true.
Yeah.
No, it's actually Chelsea Green.
Really? Okay.
Yep, 2023, she lasted 5 seconds.
Wow.
Yep. I think that was when she returned, too.
Maybe.
She got immediately eliminated.
Now, do you know who the first person to go from number 1 to winner is?
I probably do.
The very first person.
The very first person to go.
Davey Boy Smith thought he had won, but both feet did not touch the floor.
That's true.
Who was it?
That was Shawn Michaels.
Shawn Michaels.
The Heartbreak Kid in 1995.
Yes, and if you watch that, it is a terrible Royal Rumble.
I've heard. I have never sat down and watched it.
It is terrible.
Yeah. Actually, I went, my day job, I went to work there the other day, and my boss is, he's also a wrestling fan. I walk in, and he has the 1992 Royal Rumble pulled up.
Best one.
Oh, yeah. And also, like, I forget, and we're going to close the segment out with this. I forgot how good Jake Roberts is at psychology. Sometimes I know he's really good at it, but I kind of forgot because, like, he comes into the match, and I can't remember who it was. It was like 3 other guys that were on each other. Like, Flair was in there also because Flair, he won from the number 3 spot.
Yeah, with a tear in his eye.
Yes. And Jake just slides in and is like, I'm not getting involved. He just stepped off to the side. He's like, let them wear themselves out.
One of my favorite things about that Royal Rumble is Bobby Heenan on commentary. Because he was all about Ric Flair. You know, Ric Flair was his guy.
Yeah.
And Piper gets in there. And, you know, Bobby Heenan is just bad-mouthing Piper. And then Rick is going to be eliminated. And Piper goes over and starts hitting the guy that's going after Flair. And then all of a sudden Bobby Heenan is like, oh, it's not a skirt. It's a kilt. It's a kilt. Oh, it's a kilt. I love you, Piper. It's a kilt. And then Piper turns around and just punches Flair. He's like, it's a skirt. It's not a kilt. It's a skirt. It's some of my favorite times from that Rumble.
That was like the first time I had actually sat down and watched it from beginning to end, and it was very, very good. It was. Okay, so we're going to end the segment there. That was just a bunch of random facts for the Royal Rumble, just to get you, set and ready for the event coming up in a couple of weeks. Like I said, next week we will be doing predictions, so I will be defending my title as the World Heavyweight Predictions Champion.
Conrad Thompson has never been in a Royal Rumble.
He has not. So when you go to your friend's Royal Rumble watch party, you can tell them that fact. That's a good icebreaker for you.
Yeah.
Plus, you can tell them all the other facts we've given you on this segment. So, up next, we have On This Day in Wrestling History and the main event.
You know who has been in a Royal Rumble?
Who?
All right, let me start naming them. Okay, there was Shawn Michaels. There was Undertaker. There was Triple H.
Once again, here's Hollywood Jeff Petty.
Goldust, Bob Backlund, Mark Henry, Booker T, Jerry the King Lawler, Michael Cole.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen.
Sid Vicious.
Sid was in a... Oh, he was in a Royal Rumble.
Yeah, 1992.
Oh, okay.
Because he eliminated Hogan, and then Hogan was all mad, and he was like, why, you're my friend, and Sid looks at him, he's like, it's every man for himself, baby. And then Hogan goes to pull him over, and Flair eliminates him, and then that's the end of the Rumble.
And Hogan was supposed to be a face.
Yeah.
Doing stuff like that. He doesn't have an ego issue.
Oh, yeah, but also Andre the Giant was in the Rumble.
He was.
And that's everyone that's ever been in the Royal Rumble.
Okay. All right. I'm glad you kept that going over the break. He did. He named every single Royal Rumble entrant. So, parts fun known. I know that y'all just did a survival series.
Including Refrigerator Perry.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Big John Studd.
Yeah, Big John Studd was in there.
Yep. Hacksaw Jim Duggan, who had a birthday, I think, yesterday. He turned 70.
My brother got me a birthday gift of a cameo of Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Oh, I remember you showing me this.
Whenever my brother sent it to me, I was listening to it, and I was driving in Vermont, and I had to pull off the road because I was laughing so hard. Because it no joke, goes on for well over 5 minutes. And it just starts off, and he's like, oh, it's Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and someone told me that you have a birthday. Ho! And I know what I like to do to guys who are tough guys, and it's their birthday. I like to look at them, and I put my 2 big hands on my American hips, and I go, ho! And then he just goes on this long rant, and it is the most. I was in tears. I was laughing so hard.
Do you still have the video?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. I kind of want to watch it again. I remember watching it. You did show it to me when you got it. Okay. All right. On this day in wrestling history. Oh, just pure chaos. Yes, on this day in wrestling history.
Yes.
And yes, the whole time we were doing the beginning to this segment, Jason was singing.
On this day,
oh God, he's returned.
I see clearly Because I've got 20/20 vision.
Do you now, Batty?
Nope, I'm getting older. I mean, my eyes are getting a little more tired, but I can still see a little punk when I know one. And that little punk isn't here today. You know why? Because Sting hates him. Yep.
Okay. The Batty. I'm surprised it took you this long to show up.
Why? It's cold outside. I mean, there's a little bit of ice on the road. You know who else has never been in a Royal Rumble?
You?
Conrad Thompson.
He hasn't. He has not been in a Royal Rumble.
Yep.
Okay. On this day in wrestling history, January 14th, 2001, WCW Sin pay-per-view took place in Indianapolis, Indiana. Chuck Palumbo and Sean O'Haire defeated Diamond Dallas Page and Kevin Nash for the WCW World Tag Team titles. And Mang won the WCW Hardcore title, which was a terrible belt, in a triple threat match against Crowbar and Terry Funk. In the main event, Scott Steiner retained the WCW World Heavyweight title in a four-way match against Jeff Jarrett, Road Warrior Animal, and Sid Vicious. I can see your gears spinning in your head, Jason, because, yes, this is the event where Sid Vicious jumps off the middle rope and snaps his leg.
Funny enough, that is not what I was thinking about.
What were you thinking about?
I was thinking that on the, I believe it was this pay-per-view, for the entrance for Chuck Palumbo and Sean O'Haire, it on the lower third, it came up with Chuck Palumbo for both names. I believe it's this one.
It could be. I mean, we're talking 2000s.
I mean, it's
WCW.
the end of WCW.
Yeah,
they didn't care.
Yeah, I think they may have had one more pay-per-view after. I think it was Greed. One or two more. No, I think they only had one more pay-per-view after this, and I think it was Greed.
Maybe.
And I think Scott Steiner closed that one out. And moving on, January 14th, 2008. I actually enjoyed this storyline as a kid.
Really quick, I'm sorry. Scott Steiner's son had a big week with Virginia Tech basketball.
Really?
Yeah.
His son plays for Virginia Tech?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, big player.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, good for him. Yeah. Okay, so January 14th, 2008, Ric Flair defeated William Regal in a career-threatening match on WWE Raw from Mobile, Alabama. Mr. McMahon had issued an ultimatum to Flair the day after the Survivor Series in 2007, stating that the next match he lost would bring an end to his career in WWE. So.
Yeah.
I mean, that's... honestly, that was the... I did enjoy that storyline as a kid.
Yeah.
That led up to the WrestleMania 24 match between Flair and Michaels. You know, the "I'm sorry, I love you" Old Yeller style.
That's where it should have ended for Rick.
Yeah, that's why I put it in here. That is where Ric Flair's thing should have ended. So
yeah.
But last thing, January 14th, 2014, Mae Young passed away from natural causes at the age of 90. Young had a legendary wrestling career competing over 8 different decades. She became a Triple Crown winner in the NWA, winning their Florida, United States, and World Tag Team Women's Championships. And that is everything for On This Day in Wrestling History. Just to close out this segment, the main event, your upcoming week of professional wrestling it's the same thing. Same, schedule for this entire week, except New Japan has the new beginning in Nagoya on Saturday, January 20th.
With Jack Perry now being part of New Japan.
Yes, with Jack Perry. He debuted last night at Battle in the Valley. So
went to the only place where they won't be chanting CM Punk at him.
And they did.
Oh, did they?
Yes, they did. Well. They did. But, all right, we're going to close this out. And got anything else you want to add?
Yeah, Conrad Thompson has never been in a Royal Rumble.
Yeah, he has not.
Yeah,
but
I'm good.
All right. That's going to do it for us, ladies and gentlemen. And until next time, we'll see you later.
Goodbye, and good night, back.